Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunshine State. A beautiful day in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, as we get you set and ready for the Orange Bowl between Notre Dame and Penn State, a shot at the national championship on the line. It's crazy to say that. I'm Dominic, Miranda, of course, with Channel 13 in Indianapolis. This handsome gentleman beside me, Todd Sadowski, sports director at our sister station in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, from Fox 43. Todd, thank you so much for making some time joining us as we preview this highly anticipated matchup between two huge Midwest brands. How long have you been covering Penn State? You have quite a bit of experience.
This is year 25 for me at the station and covering Penn State, and 1-0 Notre Dame over Penn State. You outdressed me, Dom. But look, this is 8th road trip of the season. We're in Florida. I was already in Arizona. I was rocking the shorts, and I at least logoed up for the organization.
Yeah, pretty good trips. You went to Arizona. We went to New Orleans. I mean, great host cities and back-to-back bowl games. Kind of odd. Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, and now here we are in the Orange Bowl. All right, Notre Dame finally won that big game against an SEC opponent last week, getting here to the college football playoff semifinals. Penn State, a similar perception when it comes to those big games. Give our viewers a sense of, there's a perception outside, you're not familiar with the team, of what Penn State is. You have an inside knowledge of what the Nittany Lion program is like and what James Franklin is like. How big of a deal is this to have a chance to get to the national championship and win a big game?
This is massive, and I'll start in a general sense, okay? So when you talk about the playoff, Penn State's been on the cusp. They've been on the outskirts, just the 5, 6, 7, 8. They mentioned when they expanded this playoff format to 12 teams, what programs does it benefit? Off the charts, number 1 on the list is Penn State, because they kept missing out, okay?
Right.
So the other part of it you should know about the 12-team format is how it benefits Penn State, is this is a program built for depth. And for the tournament, you look at, Indianapolis, who I'm talking to about college basketball, right? You guys are so familiar with how a tournament format works. Penn State can survive attrition. They do a really good job of building depth and having everyone step in and play during the year and get ready for that. So sometimes in one-game settings, in a big game, if you look at James Franklin's record, not so good against teams that are ranked higher.
Right.
He takes care of business in the Big Ten against programs other than Ohio State and Michigan. So, and then you go a little bit deeper into this year's tournament format, SMU, Boise State. Again, everyone looking at the Nittany Lions, wow, does that path really benefit? So it isn't a surprise to see Penn State in the Final Four. It's awesome to have them here. This is the one. This is the one for Big Game James, which is a kind of a nickname that everybody throws out there, not making fun of him, but just looking at the record. So I think James Franklin, Nittany Lions fans understand this is the game. Sure, a national championship would be the icing on the cake.
Of course.
But this is the one that they really want against a traditional rival like Notre Dame, a top 5 team, to kind of get rid of that reputation and finally win that one that everybody wants them to get to.
And similar to Penn State, Notre Dame was in this boat just a week ago. They had no success in those big games. Brian Kelly was the same way, took care of business against the teams you should beat in that big playoff setting, in that big national championship 2012, kind of run off the field. And this far in the season, like you mentioned, it is a battle of attrition, right? I mean, Penn State's in their 16th game, is that correct? They're 13-2. Notre Dame 13-1, their 14th or 15th game, I should say. Depth is huge when it comes to this. And that leads me to, look, Notre Dame has battled injuries this season, right? Especially on the defensive side of the football. Boubacar Traore, Jordan Botelho, Benjamin Morrison, one of the best cornerbacks in the country. Most recently, Riley Mills wasn't able to play against Georgia. Now, Penn State, not without injury concerns of their own. Abdul Carter, a playmaker, a game changer. What can you tell us about him and how the game shifts if he's able to play or if he's not able to play? James Franklin pretty confident he might be able to go.
Yeah, he was specifically asked about Abdul Carter in this morning's coach's press conference. Said Abdul Carter should play. They expect him to play. Whether he's healthy enough to spy Riley Leonard, we'll see. He can certainly hunt down quarterbacks and running backs. The guy's one of the best in the nation at that. A couple of players that aren't here that you should know about is Kevin Winston. He might be a first-round draft pick in the NFL draft. He was hurt early on in the year, safety. They've had a couple of guys step up. Jalen Reed's done a really nice job back there. Zaki Wheatley has filled in nicely as well. And their backup quarterback, if that that was a national story. If you haven't heard about that one, Bo Prabula, who actually played high school right in our backyard in York County, was their backup quarterback and a part of every game plan as far as that change of pace QB to give them a running threat or to do something different with Andy Kotelnicki's creative offense. Bo entered the transfer portal and got nabbed up by Missouri, so he is not available, and so they have a backup quarterback, Ethan Grunkemeyer, who's taken very few snaps, so that could potentially play into it. But the Abdul Carter injury certainly is the one that everyone was looking at when it comes to this particular game. He looks like he's going to be ready to go, and he sent some cryptic messages out on social media if you want to check him out. So I expect him to be out there and to be a factor.
Okay, so not only on the defensive side of the ball, Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame's prolific running back, has battled a knee injury really dating back to that Indiana game or even before. Marcus Freeman confident that he should be good to go. Not sure how his usage is going to be. They were careful with him in practices. They don't want to extend him, want him to be ready for the game because, again, like we mentioned, this is a huge game for both programs. Yes, you can say Notre Dame kind of got the monkey off their back last week, but Carson Beck wasn't playing, depending on how you look at it. Is that for real? We certainly believe it is, and this is a huge game to get to that national championship, and depth is everything this far in the tournament with a game of this magnitude. So Jeremiah Love leads me to this. Running the football. Penn State's identity, Notre Dame's identity, two hard-nosed football teams, two Midwest brands. Isn't it great to see two cold weather teams that kind of talked about in this far in the tournament? Just one south of Kentucky, I want to say, with Texas being in against Ohio State in the other semifinal matchup. Okay, so Riley Leonard presents some challenges for Penn State running the football. Penn State ran all over Boise State in their last college football quarterfinal game. Where do you see that matchup? Two similar teams as offensively goes, two good defensive teams as well. It seems like good on good here, two similar style teams.
Well, I think for Notre Dame, with Riley Leonard being such a factor running the ball, it creates different challenges for a defense because a lot of times, like a Drew Aller, is not a huge running threat. So from Al Golden's standpoint, a former Nittany Lion captain, by the way,
that's right.
From his standpoint, he doesn't have to worry about game planning for that 11th player on offense as far as spying them or that type of deal. Drew Aller will be slippery at times and maybe avoid the rush and get a first down, move the chains occasionally, but it's not something that is really a crucial part of the game plan as Prabula used to be. For Penn State now, they have a two-headed monster at running back. So for Notre Dame and Coach Golden, they're going to have to deal with both Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. And we talk about attrition, we talk about depth. This is the 16th game. You get a guy like Ashton Genty last week who had so many carries, and I know the guy's physically fit and he's a young guy and could go do their thing, but Penn State had to concentrate on Ashton Genty. Boise State has to concentrate on both Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, both 1,000-yard rushers this season. So that 1-2 combination is a big deal, and we've seen a lot of times where maybe Nick Singleton is the most effective back against a defense, or maybe it's Katron Allen who really did things with Boise State. And again, I'll go back to the college basketball reference.
Yes.
It's a matchup issue. Sometimes you play teams. How do you match up? Penn State has proven they can win games in a variety of ways. So I think that's what makes this year's version of the Nittany Lions so dangerous, is it doesn't matter who they're playing, they can find a way to beat you.
Yeah, and Penn State, they took care of business. 2 losses on the season to Oregon and Ohio State. Not a bad resume. Of course, Notre Dame with that Northern Illinois loss a little early in the season. We don't talk about that very much, but
it's so long ago. That's why you don't need to talk about it.
They're playing their best football at the right time. So Riley Leonard, and similar to what you said with the two-headed monster back there, it is Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love, but Jadarian Price, for my money, one of the best backup running backs in the country. This running attack for Notre Dame, they only threw the ball for 90 yards against Georgia and got that win and just out-physical Georgia. When's the last time we can say that about a Notre Dame football team? So Penn State playing their best football at the right time, Notre Dame playing their best football at the right time. What more could you possibly ask for an Orange Bowl matchup here in South Florida to get to the national championship? All right, we're going to wrap up here. Any final thoughts, anything people should know ahead of this matchup from the Penn State point of view, or the perception of Notre Dame as well from your point of view?
Well, turnovers are always massive, and I think that's what makes the Fighting Irish a team that you got to look out for. Drew Aller, the quarterback, is very careful about how he throws the ball. He does not take a lot of chances. He's usually got 2-3 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions, maybe 1. So we'll see how calculated Drew Aller is with that. I think the line of scrimmage is going to be massive.
Of course.
For offenses or running teams. They want to stay ahead of schedule. They want to get good yardage on first down and be able to have some options on second and third down. So, for Penn State, they need to avoid the turnovers that Notre Dame's been so effective at creating. And I think for, the the offense for Penn State, you know, they want to get on schedule early and see what they can do and give them some options. Juraller is a talented guy.
Yes, he
but
is.
sometimes he gets caught on that first read. And if he can get him off that first read and you can get him off his feet, good things could happen for Notre Dame. Should be a good one.
Absolutely. Starting fast, winning the trenches, whoever runs the football the best, to elite defensive teams, great running teams. I suspect a great matchup tomorrow night at Hard Rock Stadium here in South Florida for the Orange Bowl. A trip to the national championship on the line. I know I keep saying it, but it's just surreal. I'm sure for you, for us, Notre Dame, Penn State, whoever wins, you know, having a chance to win that national championship for the first time in a long time, a big deal for both these programs. Todd, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate your insight. He's the man. We love him. Our sister stations we love, of course, in Tegna. Fox 43, WTHR, Dominic Miranda for Todd Sadowski here in South Florida. That wraps it up for us. We'll see you at the Orange Bowl.